Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video in Wild Rift. So today we're back with the patch 6.2b rundown, and this is a pretty strange one because we've just got patch 6.2a last week, and I was thinking like there's no way there's going to be another patch this week, but there is. So with that said, without further ado, let's jump straight into the patch notes. So first up, AAA ARAM is coming back, as well as Arena the following day. So this, on the day of recording, I believe this patch will be live tomorrow in about 12 hours time from when I'm recording this. So AAA ARAM's coming back then, and then Arena a day after. All Random Earth is also coming back at the same time as Arena. So we have a couple of champion changes. I think the most extensive change is probably Galio. So they don't really want people to build AP Galio. They did make that Galio mini rework at 6.2, but everybody still built AP. It didn't really work. So the first thing they're changing is his passive. So the passive cooldown is now going to be a flat 5 seconds, because obviously the passive is a huge part of AP Galio's damage. Just that smack in the hit is going to do a ton of damage. And you're instead going to gain 40% attack speed when the passive is active, which I'm not sure what that's supposed to help with. When an ability hits an enemy champion or epic jungle monster, it reduces the cooldown by 3 seconds. Each ability can trigger this once. So basically, you're going to get your passive up quickly. I'm not sure if this was always there or this is just there now, because I don't really play Galio. And then the damage is getting changed, right? So it used to be 1500% AD plus 12.5 times Chem level -1 plus 50% AP and 60% bonus magic resist. So now the AD is the same. Champion level is now 10 instead of 12.5, so you're losing a good amount of damage here. AP ratio going down by 5%, and then magic resist remains the same. So overall, what I can see from here is essentially the cooldown is getting increased and the damage is getting decreased. So just overall, just less damage from the passive. So Shield of Duran, which is the W, the taunt, taking reduced magic damage is actually going to go up in terms of the scaling, I believe. So AP scaling goes down, of course, because they don't want people to build AP, but it's not going to scale off bonus health. So once again, they want you to build tank. Taking reduced physical damage, once again, gets the health scaling, and AP scaling going down once again. So pretty standard changes across the board. Initial range has been increased. Total range and charge time remain the same. So when you tap it, you're going to get additional range, basically. Doesn't deal damage to minions or jungle monsters. And channeling can be interrupted when he's CC. That's still the same. So basically, these like weird changes here are to prevent Galio from being played in the jungle, which I don't think anyone plays Galio in the jungle regardless. But I believe this part, these parts are new, right? I don't think he used to gain attack speed, and I don't think he used to reduce cooldown, right? Anyways, gaining attack speed I think is really irrelevant. I think they just wanted him to not jungle, so they put in all the jungle clauses. But yeah, a little bit of a strange change. And then the E, damage to minions and jungle monsters is going up, and then the bonus damage is going down in terms of AP ratio. So basically, just nerfs the AP ratio all across the board. He gets a lot of bonus health scaling. He gets a little bit of a change in the passive. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't really know what this is gonna do to Galio, right? Because I don't play Galio at all, so I don't really know how this is gonna change him. And I don't really know. Yeah, I don't really know how this is gonna change him. We're gonna have to see, and maybe I'll talk about it in the next tier list. So Set is just getting a little bit of a base stat buff, base armor up and base health up. So should be stronger in the early levels, especially. Talon passive is getting buffed to do more bleed damage, also gaining more movement speed. The bonus attack range you get after you cast your Q is actually increasing. It's actually increasing from 1 second to 1.5 seconds, and the cooldown reduction is increasing, as well as the cooldown for his W is decreasing. Now, there was a time where Talon was OP and he got nerfed many times, so now they're actually buffing him back up again, and that's probably because currently assassins are kind of horrible in the meta right now. Assassins are just not very good. Because of Shield Bow, they cannot really deal with like ADCs now, which is really strange thing to say. But we'll talk about Shield Bow in a little bit because we're gonna get there. So 2 ADCs are getting buffed. First off, we have Varus, who I've playtested a lot and hasn't really been performing very well. I don't think he's horrible, but I don't think he's great either. He gets 30 extra base health, 0.4 extra AD per level, which in the grand scheme of things is not a lot, because it's just going to get like 3-4 extra AD by level 15. 30 extra health is great, but a lot stronger in laning phase. His Q is getting a flat damage buff by 10 at all ranks, and the AD ratio is going up by 10%. So this is pretty interesting because you know his passive scales off of attack speed and then his Q scales off of AD. So you could technically increase your attack speed to increase your AD. Of course, if you directly increase your AD, the scaling is going to be even better. So Varus a little bit better now. And his Q cooldown, his W cooldown is going down by 5 seconds at all levels. Base damage is also going up by a fair margin. So overall, I think Varus is going to be quite a bit stronger. And of course, we're going to be playing him, hopefully making some videos on him. And we'll see how it goes. So Zeri passive damage is actually going up. So this passive damage is actually her auto attacks, right? So her auto attacks are now going to be doing more damage, and the AD scaling is also going up. Now, I personally didn't feel like Zeri was very weak. I did think she was quite hard to play because of her new ultimate and having to stay in combat constantly, but I didn't necessarily feel that she was weak, right? But now with this change, she's definitely going to be stronger, so I'm definitely going to be playing some Zeri. I haven't made a Zeri video yet. I have only played like 1 or 2 games of Zeri just to test her out a little bit. But I'm definitely going to be getting more games in and going to be seeing how it goes. So Zyra is actually getting more or less a nerf, right? She gets 3 extra base armor, but her Q base damage is going down, AP ratio is going down by 10% as well. And her W seat duration is going down from 6 seconds to 4.5 seconds. So overall, just a huge nerf to Zyra. Right? I did think Zyra was pretty strong, especially in the support role. Also a little bit in the mid lane. But she is now getting quite a big nerf, right? So she's probably not going to be as oppressive. Now, Singed, I'm not sure why Singed is getting nerfed. I rarely ever see Singed. Maybe apparently he's too strong. But he is getting nerfed in terms of his base damage on his Q as well as the base damage on his fling. Overall, quite a big sizable nerf to Singed, right? So Singed is getting hit pretty hard this patch. But I really have only seen Singed in like 1 game this season, and like last season just a couple of games, so I rarely ever see Singed anyways. Very unpopular champion. Now Bork is actually getting a buff, 1% extra current health damage for both ranged and melee champions, which is pretty interesting because I always thought they wanted ADCs to build crit, and they wanted everyone to build crit, so they nerfed unhit, they nerfed Wits End twice, but now they're buffing Bork, so that's pretty interesting. Bork is basically a key part of any unhit build, so this is just a straight up nerf to straight up buff to unhit. And Bloodthirster finally getting a nerf. But the nerf is actually really not very big. 580 nerf definitely matters. And Lifeline shield nerf of 30 at base rank and 20 at max rank. So a little bit of a smaller shield and a little bit less AD. Now I think they're taking the conservative approach in terms of nerfing Bloodthirster. I think they don't want to hit Bloodthirster too hard in one shot. So I don't think this will be the last nerf that Bloodthirster gets, alright? Let's put it this way. I think Bloodthirster is probably going to get another nerf in the next patch or the patch after that. But Bloodthirster is getting a little bit of a nerf, right? Teleport cooldown getting buffed by 30 seconds, so you're going to be able to teleport a little bit more often. And yeah, honestly, I haven't seen too many people take teleport. Have never taken it myself. I do think this is a pretty nice buff to teleport because 3 minutes teleport cooldown is just way too long for someone to spell in the fast-paced game of Wild Rift. So I definitely think this 30-second buff makes sense. So there are going to be a ton of changes into the casual game modes that I, as usual, am not going to talk about at all. Space Groove Lux is apparently coming out, and that's pretty much it for this patch. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.